The notification sound cut through the silence of Marcus Rivera's downtown apartment like a blade. His phone screen illuminated the darkness at 2:17 a.m., casting eerie shadows across empty pizza boxes and scattered gaming controllers. The blue glow revealed his disheveled appearance. 3 days of stubble, wrinkled band t-shirt, and the kind of exhaustion that comes from avoiding reality. Outside, rain pelted against floor-to-ceiling windows, creating rivulets that distorted the city lights below. Marcus reached for his phone with trembling fingers, expecting another work crisis or spam message. Instead, he saw something that made his blood turn to ice water. A response to a text he didn't remember sending. The message thread showed his own words from an hour earlier, sent to someone labeled Victoria Chun in his contacts. His text read, "Dude, your ex's stepmom is smoking hot but terrifying AF, like a gorgeous dragon lady who could destroy my soul with one look." The response was simple, devastating, and written in perfectly punctuated text. "This is Victoria. We need to talk." Marcus Antonio Rivera, 34 years old with kind brown eyes and perpetually messy black hair, had perfected the art of being everyone's favorite disaster. His Lincoln Park apartment reflected his chaotic lifestyle. Vintage movie posters covering water stains, a kitchen that knew only takeout containers, and a bathroom mirror he avoided looking into. As a freelance graphic designer, he worked in sweatpants and survived on coffee and denial. His younger brother Diego often called him the family cautionary tale, but with affection that stung more than insult. That morning, Marcus sat at his cluttered desk, staring at the cursed text thread while his cat, Pixel, knocked over his fourth cup of coffee. "Great, just perfect," he muttered, watching brown liquid seep into sketches for his latest project. His phone buzzed again. Diego's name appeared. "Bro, did you seriously text Victoria Chun at 1 a.m.? Mom's gonna murder you if this gets back to her." Marcus's stomach dropped. Victoria Chun wasn't just his brother's ex-girlfriend's intimidating stepmother. She was also the CEO of Chun Digital Marketing, the company that had rejected his portfolio 3 times. She was elegant, successful, and completely out of his league in every conceivable way. Now she probably thought he was a creepy stalker with boundary issues. The phone rang at exactly 9 a.m., Victoria's name flashing on the screen like a death sentence. Marcus considered letting it go to voicemail, maybe changing his name and moving to Alaska. Instead, he answered with a voice that cracked like a teenager's. "Hello, this is Marcus. I am so incredibly sorry about last night. I must have been sleepwalking or having some kind of breakdown or—" "Mr. Rivera." Victoria's voice cut through his rambling like silk over steel. "I'm calling because I have a proposition. My marketing director just quit unexpectedly, and I have a major campaign presentation tomorrow that could make or break my company. I've seen your work. It's creative, unconventional, exactly what I need. Despite your interesting communication style." Marcus nearly dropped the phone. "You want to hire me? After I basically called you a hot dragon lady?" A pause. Then, impossibly, what sounded like suppressed laughter. "The term was gorgeous dragon lady, and frankly, I've been called worse. The question is, can you create something brilliant in 18 hours? Or are you just good at drunk texting?" The challenge in her voice sparked something in Marcus he hadn't felt in months. Purpose, direction, terror. "I can do it," he heard himself say. "Good. My office, 10 a.m. Don't be late, and Marcus." "Yes. Bring coffee. The good stuff." After hanging up, Marcus stared at his reflection in his laptop screen. His hair looked like he'd been electrocuted, and his shirt had mysterious stains that could have been yesterday's marinara sauce or last week's despair. But for the first time in months, his eyes held something other than resignation. He thought about Victoria's voice, professional, controlled, but with an undercurrent of vulnerability when she mentioned her company being at risk. Diego had always described her as intimidating, but Marcus remembered glimpsing her at family gatherings. Perfectly composed, yet somehow isolated, watching from the edges while everyone else laughed. He made a decision that surprised even him. This wasn't just about the job or the money. This was about proving he could be more than the family screw-up. more than the guy who lived in sweatpants and made inappropriate comments. He showered, shaved, and put on his only good suit. Navy blue, slightly wrinkled but respectable. He stopped at Intelligentsia Coffee, spending his last $40 on their premium blend and some pastries he hoped looked professional. As he walked toward the gleaming Chun Digital Marketing building, Marcus whispered a promise to himself. Don't mess this up. For once in your life, don't mess this up. Victoria Chen's office occupied the entire 32nd floor, with panoramic views of Lake Michigan that made Marcus momentarily forget why he was there. She stood with her back to him, silhouetted against floor-to-ceiling windows, wearing a charcoal gray dress that was both professional and elegant. Her black hair was pulled into a perfect chignon, and when she turned, Marcus was struck by how young she looked. Maybe 40, with kind eyes behind designer glasses that softened her intimidating reputation. You brought good coffee, she said, accepting the cup with what might have been a smile. That's promising. Her office was immaculate but personal. Family photos showing her with a teenage daughter, awards for community service, and surprisingly, a small collection of vintage comic books on a side table. You read comics? Marcus asked, gesturing toward a mint-condition X-Men issue. My daughter got me into them. She says they're modern mythology. Victoria settled into her chair, studying him with curious intensity. Tell me, Marcus, what do you see when you look at my company's current branding? He examined the materials she spread before him. Sleek, professional, utterly forgettable. Honestly, it's beautiful but soulless, like a perfect mannequin in an expensive suit. It says nothing about who you actually are. Victoria leaned back, and for a moment, her professional mask slipped. And who do you think I actually am? The question hung between them, loaded with possibility and danger. Marcus spent the next hour learning about Victoria's company crisis. Her biggest client, Meridian Hotels, was threatening to leave after her marketing director's sudden departure had left their campaign in shambles. The presentation is tomorrow at 2 p.m., Victoria explained, her composed facade cracking slightly. If we lose Meridian, I'll have to lay off half my staff. These people have families, mortgages, dreams. I can't let them down. As she spoke, Marcus noticed her hands trembling almost imperceptibly as she shuffled through papers. The vulnerability behind her professional armor was heartbreaking. Then inspiration struck him like lightning. What if we don't try to save the old campaign? What if we create something completely different? Meridian thinks they want safe and corporate, but what they really need is authentic connection. He grabbed a marker and started sketching on her whiteboard, his excitement building. Instead of showcasing perfect hotel rooms, we show real moments. Families reconnecting, couples rediscovering each other, business travelers finding unexpected peace. Victoria stood, moving closer to watch him work. That's actually brilliant, but can we execute it in 18 hours? Marcus turned, their faces suddenly inches apart. With your team and my vision, we can create something unforgettable. The air between them crackled with professional electricity and something deeper, more dangerous. Then let's get started, she said softly. The next 18 hours blurred together in a caffeine-fueled creative marathon. Marcus found himself working alongside Victoria's team, Sarah, the brilliant strategist, James, the perfectionist copywriter, and May, the photographer who could capture magic in mundane moments. Victoria surprised him by rolling up her sleeves, literally and figuratively, trading her executive composure for creative passion. She brought Thai food at midnight, remembered everyone's dietary restrictions, and somehow made the stressful all-nighter feel like the world's most important adventure. You're not what I expected, Marcus told her during a brief break at 3 a.m. They stood on the office balcony, city lights twinkling below, sharing leftover pad thai from paper containers. What did you expect? She asked, her professional mask completely gone in the pre-dawn darkness. Someone colder, more dragon ladyish. She laughed, the sound genuine and unguarded. I learned early that showing vulnerability in business is dangerous. Better to be feared than dismissed. But you're not dismissing me, Marcus pointed out. despite my spectacularly inappropriate first impression. Victoria looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. No, she said quietly. I'm not. The presentation went flawlessly. Meridian's executives were visibly moved by the campaign's emotional authenticity, signing a 3-year contract extension on the spot. As the clients left, Victoria's team erupted in celebration, but Marcus only had eyes for her radiant smile. 3 days later, Victoria invited Marcus to her Evanston home for what she called a strategy session. The Tudor-style house was warm and lived in, filled with her daughter Emma's art projects, family photos, and the lingering scent of jasmine candles. Emma, 16 with her mother's intelligent eyes and an artist's soul, immediately bombarded Marcus with questions about graphic design while Victoria prepared dinner. Mom never brings work people home, Emma confided as they examined Marcus's portfolio. She must really trust you. The evening unfolded with surprising intimacy. Victoria, dressed casually in jeans and a soft sweater, moved around her kitchen with graceful efficiency, preparing homemade dumplings while sharing stories about her journey from immigrant child to successful entrepreneur. My parents sacrificed everything for my education, she explained, her hands working dough with practiced ease. I couldn't let their dreams die with corporate mediocrity. Marcus found himself sharing his own struggles, the family expectations he'd never met, the creative dreams that felt increasingly impossible, the loneliness that had become his constant companion. You're not a failure, Victoria said firmly, meeting his eyes across the kitchen island. You're just someone who hasn't found his proper stage yet. After dinner, they sat on her back porch swing, Emma having retreated to do homework. The evening air was cool, filled with the sound of crickets and distant traffic. Thank you, Victoria said suddenly. For what? For seeing me. Not the CEO, not the Ice Queen, just me. Over the following weeks, Marcus found himself integrated into Victoria's world in ways that surprised them both. What started as a professional collaboration evolved into something deeper, more complex. He began working from Chan Digital Marketing's offices, his creative energy revitalizing not just Victoria's campaigns but her entire team's morale. Sarah started bringing her boyfriend to office happy hours. James discovered his sense of humor, and May began a photography blog showcasing Chicago's hidden beauty. Victoria, meanwhile, underwent her own transformation. The rigid professional mask she'd worn for years began to soften around the edges. She laughed more readily, took creative risks, and started leaving the office before 7 p.m. You're different, Emma observed one evening when Marcus joined them for dinner. Mom actually hums while she cooks now. Their relationship deepened through shared experiences. Late-night brainstorming sessions that turned into conversations about dreams and fears. Weekend museum visits where Victoria revealed her secret passion for contemporary art. And quiet moments in her garden where Marcus helped plant flowers while she talked about her late husband. David died when Emma was 12. She confided one Saturday afternoon, dirt under her fingernails and vulnerability in her voice. I've been so focused on being strong for everyone else. I forgot how to be soft for myself. Marcus reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. Strength and softness aren't opposites, he said gently. Maybe they're meant to complement each other. The turning point came during the company's annual summer picnic at North Avenue Beach. Marcus had organized the entire event, transforming a typically corporate gathering into a celebration of creativity and community. He'd arranged for local food trucks, live music, and art stations where employees' children could create masterpieces with professional supplies. Victoria watched from a picnic table, her heart full as she observed her team, her work family, laughing and connecting in ways she'd never imagined possible. You did this, she said when Marcus joined her, both of them watching Emma teach James's 5-year-old daughter how to make friendship bracelets. You brought joy back to my company, to my life. The sun was setting over Lake Michigan, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. Marcus turned to face her fully, his expression serious. Victoria, I need to tell you something. These past 2 months, they've been the best of my life. Not because of the job or the success, but because of you. Because of us. She felt her breath catch. Marcus, I know this is complicated. I know I'm not what you planned, not what makes sense on paper. But I love you. I love your brilliant mind and your generous heart. I love how you make everyone around you better, including me. I love that you read comics and make perfect dumplings and cry at insurance commercials. Victoria laughed through sudden tears. How did you know about the insurance commercials? Emma told me. She also told me that you haven't been this happy since her father died. And Victoria? He cupped her face gently. You deserve to be happy. We both do. 1 year later, Marcus stood in the same spot on North Avenue Beach, but everything had changed. The second annual Chin Digital Marketing Picnic was in full swing, but now he was no longer just the creative contractor who'd saved the company. He was family. The past year had brought challenges and triumphs in equal measure. Marcus had officially joined the company as creative director, his unconventional ideas helping them win 3 major industry awards. Victoria had learned to delegate, to trust, to let others share her burdens and joys. Emma had started her senior year of high school with plans to study art therapy, inspired by watching Marcus help her mother heal through creativity. But the most significant change was the small velvet box hidden in Marcus's pocket. He'd spent weeks planning this moment, working with Emma to design the perfect ring. A vintage-inspired piece that combined Victoria's elegant sophistication with touches of whimsy that represented their unexpected love story. "Mom," Emma called out, approaching with a knowing smile. "Marcus wants to show you something by the water." Victoria looked suspicious but allowed herself to be led to a quiet spot where the waves lapped gently against the shore. Marcus had arranged for fairy lights to be strung between nearby trees, creating a magical ambience as the sun set. "What's all this?" Victoria asked, though her voice suggested she already knew. Marcus took her hands, his heart pounding. "A year ago, I sent the most embarrassing text in human history. Tonight, I want to send a different kind of message." He dropped to one knee, pulling out the ring as Emma recorded from a discreet distance. "Victoria Chun, you taught me that love isn't about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to be real with someone else. Will you marry me?" As Victoria said yes through happy tears and Marcus slipped the ring onto her finger, the beach around them erupted in cheers from their chosen family. Her employees, his brother Diego, Emma's proud applause, and even Pixel the cat, who had somehow been smuggled into the celebration in a designer carrier. Looking back, Marcus marveled at how a single moment of mortification had led to the greatest love of his life. Sometimes the most beautiful stories begin with the most embarrassing mistakes. Sometimes the text you never meant to send delivers you exactly where you need to be. And sometimes the person you think is completely out of your league turns out to be the perfect match for your imperfect heart. Victoria had taught him that vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was the courage to let someone see you completely and trust them with what they find. Their love story would become legend in their circles, proof that authentic connection could bloom in the most unexpected places, between the most unlikely people. In a world of carefully curated social media personas and professional facades, they had found something rare and precious: the courage to be genuinely, messily, beautifully human with each other. And it all started with one perfectly imperfect text message.